What is up, everyone, and welcome back to Break the Cycle podcast. And today's topic will be what?
Family meals.
Yay. Eating with family.
This is one that I'm very excited for because when I first started, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Same. We didn't know what the hell we were doing in the kitchen at all. And, it took us some time, but we're finally getting better. Or we're pretty good now, actually. Like, everyone that tries our food really likes our foods. You can ask anyone that comes to our parties. And maybe one day you'll get invited too. Who knows?
We'll collect the testimonials.
Yeah, we'll collect the testimonials and make a montage for you guys. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but like for me, I didn't know how to cook when I was younger. My mom was the type that liked to cook alone. And so I didn't know how to make rice. I didn't know how to make beans. Like even canned beans were like alien territory for me. Because I still remember when I first tried to meal prep. It was it was before I got with you, like 2014, 2013. And I bought a grocery list full of things like from this program that I was doing, and they put on their canned beans. And so I bought canned beans, and I swear to you, I had no idea what I was doing.
Dude, tell me why at 13, 14, I was also doing meal prep for the first time because that's when I was working out vigorously because I was on deployment at the time, so I was working out hard. But then when we came back home, me and my homie, we decided to meal prep and actually get our meals together and stuff like that. So that's funny that we were both doing that at the same time. We never really talked about that. Yeah.
We didn't talk about that. You know what's funny? Like for those people that don't know us, when we first started dating, I was working out because I had lost weight that first time following a program. And we would tell each other that we were fit fam. We were going to have a fit fam. And I don't know why, but it would just be a thing, even though we would eat like crap all the time.
Ta-da!
And then now we're here. But yeah, and that's the dangers is if you're following something, buying all the stuff that's on the grocery list can be just more overwhelming than it is, and it can be also more discouraging because then you don't know how to make it, you don't end up eating all of your meal prep, and then it all goes down the drain.
Yeah, I think that's one of the toughest things is when most of us try to meal prep is we make too much food and then we don't end up eating it all. And
you get to that third or fourth day, you're like, ugh.
Yeah. And I think the worst thing, and it's crazy because that's one of the things that we actually learn about ourselves. And that's one of the things that we implement in our one-on-one coaching program is hey, you don't need to eat this much food right away. You can start with, just counting your protein and meeting at least this goal. And then we can go from there. But it's really not about having a meal prep plan. It's really not about any of that. It's just baby steps. A baby learns how to walk by taking 2 steps away from the couch. It's the same thing, same concept.
Oh yeah.
So that's one of the biggest things that we had to learn is hey, we don't always have to have meals prepped. And what we talked about this before, where one of the things we did was dinner from the night before is lunch the next day.
Yeah.
That's a meal prep.
That's what works for us the most, to the point where we enjoy our food the next day. And with our lifestyle. So obviously check in with your lifestyle. That's biggest thing when you're starting something is audit your lifestyle. What do you have time for? Where could you transfer time over? What are you spending time on? The things that you don't need to or aren't necessarily serving you. And where can you take time away from in order to put time to educate yourself and just start putting in new practices into your life.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll start.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, this is how we started because I would make 2 different meals for me and Abraham initially. Remember?
Yeah.
When I was still following programs. It was the hardest thing because I was just I'm so tired of having bullshit. And I felt so bad eating good for myself and then having my husband and kids eat something bad or going out to eat. And I was like, that's unacceptable to me because if I'm trying to be healthier, why wouldn't I want my kids and my husband to be healthier? So I started experimenting because I was not the greatest cook. So I would try. My little heart would try so hard. So I would always find recipes and I would try them out. But initially, it was like just recipes that we had never made in the house before. So, like, the first recipe that I ever learned how to really make from like a online recipe thing was my stuffed shells. And
Ooh, one of
and
my
it was
favorite.
such a complicated dish for me in that time, but and that's not like the healthiest thing ever, but it showed me that like I can recreate something that I learned from or that I read off the internet, right? And then we started watching what is that show?
Master Chef.
Yeah, Master Chef. We were watching that for like 5 months. At the time, it was for like entertainment. Like we
Yeah.
would be eating our Chipotle bowls, like stuff like that, while watching that. But I think I learned a lot.
Yeah, so did I, because like that's where I really learned like you only flip a steak once, you know, and then like how to properly season food for the most part. Like you start watching what these people are doing, and you actually try to do it in the kitchen, and it's so crazy because there's actually like what do they say? I think it was IFCA who said this, that were like when you identify as a superhero, you start thinking of like other solutions to a problem that you don't necessarily know, so you become more creative. But I think it's the same thing when we like watch the cooking show. That's what happened to me, is like, oh, like here are these people putting their own little spins and twists on the food. Like, why don't I do that? Like, why
Yeah.
don't I make my food match my taste buds? And it was really cool because like I really got to experiment with my steak. My chicken's freaking fire. Like I make wings now in the air fryer. Like, you know, I
Yeah.
get down. I get down.
I think that's the biggest problem is like being too scared to do anything in the kitchen or to go off of like the recipe, because you're not really sure like what combinations go through and stuff like that. And I think that's what I was scared of, is like, oh, but I gotta do it perfect. I gotta do exactly what it tells me. But cooking is an art. They say baking is a science, but cooking is an art.
Mhm.
Because now I don't really pay attention to like how much like seasoning the thing tells me. It's like really like intuitively, and that's
Yeah.
something that you get like as you go along.
Mhm.
But making it simple, what I did is like when I started making my foods, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna at least get my fucking rice right.
Yeah.
Because my rice, like sometimes it was good and then other times it wasn't, because I was
Bro.
trying to, you know what's funny is I would try to follow the verbal rules that someone told me about, and it just never worked out for me. Like sometimes it was good, sometimes it was like a little bit crackly
Yeah.
when we bit on it. So I was like, you know what? Let me just get my fucking rice right, and like let me just start there. And so I started there. I started on my rice, came out bomb fire. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, well I can make rice now. Let me play around with veggies, because I was trying to add more veggies, more greens, but I didn't necessarily like certain flavors of veggies or how they tasted. So I started playing around with like sweetness. That's when I started adding maple syrup to like kale and like the
Yes.
sweet potatoes and stuff
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh, that's so amazing. And you know what's crazy about that is like when she started messing around with foods and seeing how certain, and like the kids started looking, and like one of the things that it's so important for people to do is like get your kids involved in the
Mhm.
kitchen. I'm about to hit you with some nerd stuff, but like, you know, like there is recent studies that have showed that like kids who are in the process, like included in the process of eating or making the food with their parents or eating breakfast with their parents and stuff like that, they make better choices with food. They actually drink less soda, they eat less chips, and they're more apt to eating more vegetables and eating more fruits and stuff like that. So I think that it's very important that like we understand that it's like it's a family thing, it's a community thing,
Mhm.
and your children need to be involved too, because we use meal times as like education times too. So like I'll ask Ezra like, hey, like, you know, what are strawberries good for? And his little nerdy ass will be like, oh, they're good for your heart, they have antioxidants, and it helps you fight cancer. And you can ask him that yourself and he'll tell you the same answer. It's crazy, but it's really good that we implemented the family time and that the kids are also involved in the cooking process, because Andy's more adventurous with food and he was the toughest one to get over. Like,
Oh my Andy,
dude,
my little chicken nugget
dude,
baby.
the little chicken nugget baby. Yeah, man, it was
the
it was nuts.
stress. Oh my god. And then like not to mention I had like not the best temper back then. And so it was really hard to get him to eat something that I was making with all these like foreign flavors. Foreign flavors though.
Mhm.
Like, you know? And because I'm over here thinking I'm following this recipe from this program, and but it's a foreign flavor. It's like Italian food or it's like something else. but it's just not the type of flavors that like he's grown up with or that are closer assimilated to the things that he likes. So, like, if your kid is a chicken nugget baby, make some fries out of potatoes. Like, do those things that are closely related to what they like. Quesadillas with corn tortilla and then like some meat, some good meat on the side and some yogurt on the side. Like, try to mimic the things that they like now, and then just go up like in a version, have a version of that. And what he said about involving the kids, it's like a lot of people are like, well, I just don't have time to make food for dinner, so we just end up going out to eat or ordering something, right? And that's family time because you get to enjoy time. And most of us see cooking as a chore, so we're like, it's just like a must do every single day. But for us, I think, I don't know if you agree, but for us, like, while it is a must do, it is the time that we actually get off of our phones and we start to family time. We play music, we dance in the kitchen. The boys come in and help with the kitchen, like with whatever they can. So, like, if trash needs to go thrown out, the kids start to go throw out the trash, the dishes, and then sometimes even they just sit there at the island, and then we pop quiz them about the food that we're about to eat.
Yep.
And we make it very, very involved. And then we say like, hey, like, for example, like if we find something out about the food, like, oh, did you know? And then we'll tell them about it. They're like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest. Yeah, is we use meal times as like a way to teach our kids about food, because we didn't get that growing up. We realized that what our parents, as well intentioned as it was, it wasn't the best thing for us. And I think we came to realize that it's like, hey, like, not only do we have to learn this stuff, but we have to pass it on to our kids, because we don't want our kids, and we've talked about this before, growing up to be sick. We don't want them to grow up to be, easily manipulated and, just fragile, sick people. And you see that way too often now. And like, that's one of the things that I'm so proud of us for doing, is because like our kids know that they need exercise. Our kids know that they need the sun. Our kids know that they need healthy fruits and some vegetables, and meat obviously is like number one in this house. So it's so crazy that our kids, like, not only have we grown, but our kids have also grown and broken out of their shells in the process.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Andy has been the biggest testament to that, because he's loving all the food. He gets so excited. Like, we don't make boring foods because, or I guess we just add our twist. We like to eat the things that we used to like to eat. Like, we used to go to Buffalo Wild Wings a lot.
Yep.
Now we make wings at home, and we make them with the best quality ingredients or whatever. And it's so simple, so easy. During that time, we get to talk and play around and talk about our day. Ezra loves to like come up to us and be like, so mom, how was your day? And he likes to like listen to us, and he likes to ask those questions. He likes to be asked. He loves to be asked, hey, what's your favorite thing about yourself? So we take the time and ask like these random questions. Like, what do you like most about this person in our family? Like, about your dad, about your mom. And it becomes something like, you end up, it sounds cheesy, but you end up finding out certain things, and the kids just love it. So like, now we make wings, now we make burgers, we make our pastas when we're feeling lazy, when we're like, okay, like, I don't want to cook longer than 30 minutes today, and that's what we make. We make, what else? Or our traditional Mexican dishes, like, that's another thing. Our traditional Mexican dishes, my chilaquiles. Chilaquiles.
The tacos we make fire tacos all the time.
Chicken, rice, and beans.
Like, and the crazy thing is, like, you can change the variety of that. Like, you have like 3 different types of rice. You can have red rice, you can have white rice, you can have butter rice, and then just switch between those 3. And then you have like black beans, pinto beans, and then what are the kidney beans? So you can switch between those 3, and then you can
even make chorizo beans.
You can even make chorizo beans. Like, it's so easy. And it's like I think one of the things that us eating as a family has actually like helped us out a lot with is like managing our stress too, because like not only is there research that shows this, that like when parents are able to get home and just have a family meal, it promotes like work productivity too. So like, like not only does it make you happy and reduces your stress, it also like helps your kids out too in the process. And like, I think just us being able to have our hands in the food and being able to make it together is like the best thing we have done so far.
Oh yeah, we always say like we're eating our food, and we're like, wow, like I could never feel this satisfied with food outside of my house.
No, I never have. That's the worst thing.
I mean, granted, we're happy to go out somewhere to eat, but honestly, at this point, we just prefer to make it at home, especially if we have a little bit of like, if we have time. So like, we're not gonna, out of sake of time, we're not gonna go somewhere. The only reason that we'll go somewhere is because, hey, we've had a craving, let's go, I don't know, do something real quick. And then that's where what we're going to do out of pleasure, not out of like sake of time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so like we make it super simple. We make enough for dinner and then lunch for the kids and ourselves as well. So we make double portions, which is really easy because the rice, you just make double portions. You make 2 cups or whatever it is. Usually 1.5 cups is what our family uses for both breakfast, or not breakfast, but lunch and dinner. And for steak and stuff, like you just measure out the ounces and whatnot. So like how much meat do you get from like a specific amount that you get, and just make sure that adults have at least 4 ounces because all of us are eating too little bit. And that's for any protein, at least 4 ounces of that. And then the kids get 2 to 3, just depending on their age, height, and weight, and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a fun, it's supposed to be fun, and it's not supposed to be a chore. And I think that's the message that we want to spread, is that it's an opportunity to have family time with your kids, to get closer to them, to get them to start to go on the bandwagon with you if you're struggling to go on this journey and you feel isolated. There's no reason why you have to do it alone. Like, there is something you can do. And the best thing that you can do is think of it as, oh, hey, I'm going to have family time. I'm going to make some rice for the kids, or whatever it is, pasta, rice noodles, like whatever grains you want. Choose a grain, choose a protein, choose some veggies. Your fats are going to be like your oils, the butter, whatever it is that you use. And it's just as easy as that. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. It doesn't have to have hella ingredients. Like, if you want to make it as simple as possible, the simplest meals are sometimes our most favorite ones.
Yeah. Yeah, Ezra, you can ask him his favorite meals. He never says tacos. He never says burgers. He never says stuffed shells. He says chicken, rice, and beans, steak, rice, and beans.
Yeah, that's Ezra's favorite food, and that's Andy's too. And that's honestly, when we have that, we're being lazy because we're being very simple. But then we're eating and we're feeling so satisfied.
Yep, I think that's the best thing. It's like, yeah, it's one of the best things is like the feeling of satisfaction. The fact that like not only did you create this food, but it's like the energy you put while you're creating it, and then you're like eating it. And it's just like, dude, like you really do love it. It's like, it's so crazy.
Abraham always says that I pour a lot of love into the food making.
That's the secret ingredient.
And he does too. He loves to make his food, like the proteins, and then he loves to bring it out, cut a piece, and give us all a piece. And he loves to see our faces. We're like, yum. And over the years, it's gotten even more. We're like, wow, this is so good. So it gives you so much joy to be able to give your family. And like when they love my sides, when they love whatever it is that I'm making, the sauce, whatever it is, and they're like, wow, Mom, this is so good. And it's like a little box of surprise.
Yeah.
But I was just going to touch on like what you said about stress management before we go. For me, because I work from home, so I don't know if you guys work from home or whatever it is, but sometimes it's really hard to blur the lines from your work life to your personal life. And we all get caught up in that, especially if you're like, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna do all of this, but you need to give yourself rest to be your best every single day. And that's what helps me. Making dinner is my trigger. It's like, okay, I'm done working. This is it. We're off the phones. We're off the technological devices. We're off the TV, unless we have family movie night. And that's it. Yeah.
That's about it. Yeah. So eat with your family to reduce stress and influence your kids to make the right choices.
And to lose weight.
And to lose weight, obviously. But
Yes.
thank you guys so much for listening on Apple and Spotify. And thank you guys for watching on YouTube. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them down below and leave a review for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.